So you're driving trucks, but eventually you get into the bounty hunter business.
Yeah.
What made you get into that?
I had a buddy of mine. He was a bounty hunter and a bondsman, and he was writing bonds. And he asked me that I want to come down and help him, and I told him I would. You know, what I mean? It's easy money. You know, so that's what I did. I went and started helping him, and then I got certified and I started writing bonds, and I became a bounty hunter.
Okay, so that's essentially if someone jumps bail and is wanted, you go out and try to capture that person and bring him back.
Yeah.
Kind of seems like the hardest job in the world.
It was cool with me. I mean, you know, I had a good time doing it. You know what I mean? I had a ball doing it. I made like a lot of money, and I stayed with it for a long time.
Okay, like how many years total did you do it?
About 10.
Oh, okay. So this was really your career for a very long time.
Yeah.
Okay. There were 4 situations where you had a justifiable homicide trying to bring someone back.
That never happened.
Okay, you made that up?
No, I didn't make it up. Somebody else did. Somebody in wrestling in the locker room made it up, and I just went with it. You know what I mean? I was just like, when they want to say I killed somebody, I killed them. You know what I mean? And I thought it was funny, and for a long time, that was like the running joke. You know what I mean? New Jack killed 4 people. I never killed anybody.
Okay. Well, besides that, that whole situation that never happened, I would assume that bringing people back who are trying to escape the law that have already jumped bond, could probably get pretty crazy. Well, what do you think were the craziest situations that you ran into?
I had a guy that I had a bond jump on. He had a failure to appear. He was driving a truck, a tractor trailer. And when he found I was looking for him, I was parked on the street that he lived in, that he lived on. And he came down the street and saw me, and he turned around and drove his truck right into my car. And we got out and started fighting, and the cops came and they took him to jail, and I surrendered my bond, and that was it. That was probably one of the craziest ones, you know what I mean, that I did.
Okay. I mean, in general, when you have to apprehend people, does it usually get physical? Does it usually get violent?
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes you get the guy here, he'll just go ahead and surrender. But then again, you had the ones that we used to call jackrabbits. They want to run. You know what I mean? And we would go out and chase them and catch them and beat them up, and put handcuffs on them, put them in the car and take them to jail.
Okay. How much do you usually make off of bringing someone back on average?
In the state was 10%, out of state was 20%. So if I had a $2,000 bond, if I got arrested the guy, I got $200. If I had a $250,000 bond, I got $25,000.
Okay, what was the biggest bond you ever arrested somebody on?
$1 million.
Oh, really? Who was this?
Huh?
Who was that?
I don't remember the guy's name, but he was in Atlanta, and he was
Okay,
on. He had a failure to appear for drug charges, and he had $1 million bond, and
okay, I was gonna say $1 million bond. That must be someone pretty high up in the
yeah
in the ranking there.
Yeah.
Okay, and you brought him back without incident, or was it a?
No, he was cool. He was like, I knew the day was coming. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, yeah, motherfucker, you know you right. You know what I mean? And he was cool with it.
Okay. Well, I mean, in general, someone who's jumping bond is doing anything possible not to get caught.
Right.
So how do you track down somebody who's trying not to even be on the radar at all?
When they get out of jail, they have to go to the bonding company and fill out an information sheet. And this is like relatives, girlfriends, ex-girlfriends, wives, mother, father, brother, sister. And they had put all the information down on a piece of paper. And we would start right there, and we would be calling around and seeing how they heard from the guy, they got in touch with him, you know what I mean? And then we would go, once we would get a lead, we would go and get the guy.
Okay. You'd have to do surveillance sometimes,
Yeah.
that type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So here you are a bounty hunter for 10 years. What made you eventually get out of that business?
I had a buddy that was wrestling, and I was playing semi-pro football at the time. And we had our last game, and he came up to me, and he was like, hey, man, I've been training down at the WCW. He said, won't me and you train, and I can, he said, we become wrestlers. And I was like, at the time, I didn't want nothing to do with it. I was like, man, I don't want to do it, And he was like, no, we can make some money doing it. So I went on and started training with him, and then I met Ray Candy, and I started training with Ray, and he took me under his wing, and he was like, I can teach you a lot, and you'll make a lot of money doing it, and just stick with it. You know what I mean? So I started training with Ray, and that was it. That was the rest of history.
Okay, because before then, you weren't a wrestling fan at all.
No.
Okay, so you never watched WWF and none of
I
those
watched it sometimes when I was a kid. I watched it sometimes, but I didn't watch it like religiously. I didn't.
Okay. Before you got into it, did you think it was real? It was scripted? Did you know how it worked?
I mean, I knew, I had an idea. You know what I'm saying? I had an idea, And when Melvin, the guy that was training me, him and Ray Candy, when they got a hold of me, they was like, we can do this, and you can make some money doing it. And I went to a show at WCW in Atlanta, and I went and bought me a ticket, and I sat up in the nosebleed section, and I was just watching it, and I was studying it. You know what I mean? And I was like, I can do this. So one thing led to another, and I started doing it.